Can you only collect Hot Toys alternatives? Just anything but Hot Toys in 1/6 scale and still put together a good line, a good display. It's a very interesting question. I've never tried to do that because Hot Toys just inherently 1/6 scale. Hot Toys, they get thrown in the mix because a lot of people say they're the best and they have the most licenses. They produce the most figures in a given year. I can see that. But what if you didn't want to get Hot Toys? Price or availability, or just didn't like the licenses, or whatever reason? It's a very interesting question. So I've got some pictures of people's collections of non-Hot Toys figures only. And I don't know if we're going to be able to have like a definitive answer at the end of this. Like, yes, absolutely, only non-Hot Toys. Never get any Hot Toys. I don't know if that's going to happen. But it's going to make for some pretty interesting discussion both in the chat and I think, Will, I want to hear your opinion on this as well. So,
yeah,
while we're discussing this, I'll bring up some pictures. I'll have them going in the background, of people's collections. This is an interesting one. So, Mortal Kombat. Hot Toys never made any Mortal Kombat figures. No, not yet. These are the game ones by Storm Collectibles, and they're slowly starting to build out a line. We've got Sub-Zero, we've got Scorpion, and we've got Noob Saibot. So we've got 3 of the ninjas. Will they do a reptile? I don't know. Will they do anyone else? I don't know. That is one of the reasons why this is a bit of a struggle. Because, Will, you start off with the Storm Collectibles line. You could be waiting years for them to make a Shao Kahn or a Goro, and it never happens. So you're just sitting there with these 2 or 3 ninjas in your display. You're waiting. I really want to build out this Mortal Kombat line, and it never happens. Is that a factor? Or does it not matter? Is it like, I've got the characters that I wanted, that's it?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Justin, what I would say, the term for this is hipster collecting, because if you
I like that.
Because you are not collecting the main lines, the Hot Toys lines, because I'm willing to bet, Justin, a lot of people, and I think I've said this before, a lot of people got into 1/6 scale because of Hot Toys, not because they wanted to collect 1/6 scale specifically. It's because they got Hot Toys, saw how realistic they were, and for many, many years, they were really the only real big company that was producing really lifelike realistic figures. So people just stuck with Hot Toys. Now you got these statue companies coming in. You got InArt, and even 3-0 is getting better. And other companies will come in and they got Lim Toys making really good figures, and Game Toys and all these other companies and so. But it's absolutely possible to do it. It's just pretty difficult because I feel like the only way you'd be able to pull that off would be maybe you don't either have the budget to get Star Wars or Marvel figures, or you just don't like Star Wars, Marvel, or DC figures, which is very few collectors, because that's the reason that Hot Toys has those licenses, because they are the most popular and they're the most profitable licenses, especially Star Wars and Marvel. So it's kind of hard to find, fans in our sort of little group or community, our echo chamber, so to speak, that do not like Star Wars and Marvel. That would probably be the only way you wouldn't collect Hot Toys if you collect 1/6. Yeah, maybe you really love Transformers and you only want Transformers, or maybe you only love the PlayStation characters like I do, and then you only collect those, right? That could be something that happens. But or maybe you really love Lord of the Rings and you only want the Asmus and InArt stuff, right? Could be that. Maybe you love Game of Thrones and that's the only stuff you want to collect because you want a consistent line and you don't want to dip into other IPs. That could be something that happens. So it's totally possible. It just depends, I guess, where your priorities lie. Because if you have any sort of inclination or serious fandom for Star Wars and Marvel, it's very difficult to ignore Hot Toys.
So freaking difficult. Because even third party, they don't really touch Star Wars, to be honest. They do a little bit for Marvel, but imagine only putting together a Marvel collection via third party. Like, what would you have?
That would be super difficult.
It would be well, it could be done, but it would be really weird. Like, you'd have just a random Red Guardian, and then you'd have like Baron Zemo.
You'd have Juice Girl Hella.
Yeah, have Juice Girl Hella, but no Thor and no like Iron Man, no main characters. Although there are a couple third party versions out there.
Right.
Seriously though, for licenses that Hot Toys don't really have another option. So if you are a massive Transformers fan, this is the 3-0 premium scale line. They're all relatively in scale, except Bumblebee's way too big, I think. You can do it because it's your only option. You have to do it. If you want a Transformer by Hot Toys, they made an Optimus Prime. That's true. It was pretty bad. I didn't like it. Some people did like it. Some people still have that, but 3-0 kind of your only option if you want to go Transformers. So one of the arguments for is yes, if it's a license that Hot Toys simply doesn't have and never will. Something that maybe is against, though, is quality. I'm not saying 3-0. 3-0 makes some insanely well-engineered Transformers figures like this Bumblebee lineup. Awesome. You got Prime, Bumblebee, Blitzwing, Soundwave, also from the Bumblebee movie. Great little mini collection. But quality-wise, sometimes it can be hit and miss. So if you are just sticking with other companies, like these two are from So-So, got their Blind Vigilante, Daredevil, and we've got their Kingpin. But a lot of people don't like the body on Kingpin. I personally think it's fine. But there are those sort of questionable choices with third party. They don't have as much of a lead time, if you will, to do R&D and try things and, you know, evolve over the years. They kind of hit and run. They come in, they drop the pre-order, they drop it real quick, and then they move on to the next thing because they never know if they're going to get shut down tomorrow. So that's for third party.
It's true.
I'm pretty sure you agree with this. That the metric for quality on third party is fluctuating. It's a graph that is unpredictable.
Yeah. It is, and some companies are more consistent than others, for sure. Because I think Present Toys is doing a pretty good job, but they tend to be going up and down, right? It depends on the the volume of figures that they're releasing too. Because I only have one Pop Toys figure, so my only experience with them is that Scorpion, but it's incredible, and I can't wait. Hopefully, for them to do Sub-Zero, and I hope they maintain that quality. Game Toys has produced 3 figures now. All 3 have been fantastic, amazing quality. So that's only 3 figures. So has produced a lot more than that. So they have a bigger volume body of work. So it just depends, I think, on the body of work there. Toys R Us has made a lot of figures, Toys R Us has made a lot. Some are pretty good and some are not as great, right? So it really just depends on the figure. So it's a tough one with third party. It's just, there's a lot of good alternatives out there right now. And Limb Toys, for example, I only have the Arthur Morgan. I've not had anything else from them. So I don't know. I can only base that off that. So, maybe if Nathan Drake delivers too, and they deliver Joel and Ellie really good too, like then that's 4 figures right there that would be really, really high quality. So I'm hopeful that's the case. But yeah, man, it's hard to collect Hot Toys alternatives without collecting Hot Toys. But, like you said, 3-0, I'm glad you mentioned them. Justin, if they could fix their head sculpts and get them consistent, they would be a problem. They would be like 3-0. If they did that, Justin, and they produce like Hot Toys level quality head sculpts, they'd be on Hot Toys level because their tailoring is amazing. So are their accessories. Their Transformers are incredible from what I've heard. If they could fix their head sculpt problem, I think that would be a game changer for them.
Head sculpt gate. I'm with you, and we do have more 3-0 to discuss, but Alfonso Nation is here. The reason I'm mentioning Alfonso, thank you so much for joining us, Alfonso, is because I've been binging your channel, sir. I just watched your review for the Voyager class Cheetor from Rise of the Beasts, and you convinced me to get the darn thing. So I'm going to click and collect. A little click and collect action. So I'm going to go pick it up after this stream. But I've been really enjoying your content, Alfonso, so keep it up. And, one day if you want to come on the stream and chat Transformers, why the heck not? Let's do it. Let's give it a go. And I know you collect some Hot Toys as well. So.
I've seen all the Transformers movies, but I'm not a super fan. So,
there you go.
I like some of them.
Not yet. Maybe after Rise of the Beasts. Or it could go the other way. I don't know.
That looks great, though, Justin. The new Transformers films look really good, bro. Looks great.
I'm really hopeful. Speaking of 3-0, though, you can, if you are a Game of Thrones fan, absolutely put together a line. So we're back to that license thing. You can absolutely put together a line of 3-0 Game of Thrones. And I'm doing that. I don't know if you can see. I'm starting my little Game of Thrones collection back here. It's a work in progress. But back to the whole license discussion. Yes, you can. Hot Toys, head sculpts, pretty consistent. Consistency is king when it comes to 1/6 scale, because when you have that reputation, then you can be pretty sure that if you announce something, people are going to pre-order it because they know that you've got that reputation. Good head sculpts, good tailoring, good accessories. 3-0, if they start nailing head sculpts 100% of the time, or at least 90% of the time, they can have the odd stinker here and there. Bases. 3-0. That is one thing that I think is a no for this topic. Collecting only Hot Toys alternate is possible. No, because this to me doesn't really look like a finished display without the bases. It kind of just looks like, figures standing around, whereas the bases give you that real classy edge. The nameplate, a little bit of artwork, it just makes it look more complete. So I'm hoping that 3-0 does up the game with head sculpts. does start including bases, because once they do, with the licenses that they have, they've got Chainsaw Man, they've got Game of Thrones, they've got Walking Dead, a lot of HBO stuff. It could be a real problem. Their engineering is unquestionably good. The outfits, like you said, Will, the tailoring, very impressive. So, I mean, we're getting towards the end of this topic, and I'm kind of leaning towards a yes, maybe. Is it possible?
I think
maybe.
it is possible, but it's just, I feel like unlikely for most collectors.
Not probable.
Yeah, right. Not probable. Like, I feel like it would have to be one of those where, like I said, you just don't want Star Wars or Marvel stuff. Because if you do want Star Wars or Marvel stuff and you want to build that, or DC too, I always forget about DC, like, then you can't ignore Hot Toys. So it just depends. If you're a really hyper specific, have a specific fandom for one IP, then at that point, yeah. Like if I was only collecting Last of Us stuff, obviously I would not be into Hot Toys, but only Game of Thrones stuff, right? Then I would be like, yeah, I would give, but I'm with you, Justin. I've always said this, bro. I've said this to friends and on live streams everywhere in between. You need stands, not just 3-0 guys. Display your figures with stands, please.
And also for safety.
If something falls, you're going to regret it. I'm just telling you, like maybe you've never had a problem, but you will eventually. Eventually a day will come when your figure falls and you're going to be very upset you didn't use a stand. So that's what I would say.
You do. You do need stands.
Yes.
So the long and the short of it, I think it is possible, but like Will said, not probable. Because chances are, you don't have to like everything that Hot Toys makes, but there's always going to be that one like they're bloody doing Ant-Man, the Wasp, Quantumania. They're doing all this other stuff. I don't care about any of that. And then boom, they hit you with an 89 Batman out of nowhere. Everyone is aware of Michael Keaton as Batman, at the very least. I won't say everyone loves him, but I do, and a lot of people do. So that might be the thing that you're like, I've been avoiding Hot Toys for years. I've only done me 3-0 and my third party because I haven't really, it's not my thing. I more prefer Terminator and Game of Thrones, etc. But they'll get you eventually. They will. Whether it's RoboCop, or whether it's 89 Batman, or Johnny Silverhand from Cyberpunk, or John Wick.
Yeah.
Like, there are the randoms as well. So, Hot Toys, very, very, very difficult to avoid entirely. And luckily, if you are just doing that one odd figure every now and then, you don't have to worry about Hot Toys being insanely expensive, which is one thing that people say is a reason why they avoid them, because you're only picking up one. Whereas if you are all in on a full line, that can be really, really expensive. So this could potentially be a way of saving a little bit of money back in the pocket for other things. It's always a good thing. So if you are interested in collecting only Hot Toys alternatives, whether it's third party or other first party, like Asmus, Star Race, 3-0, and please don't just do a Star Race display. I mean, some of their stuff is good. I've got some in my display. I got the Ninja Batman stuff, but I'd say that you are very likely to eventually end up with something Hot Toys in your display because they cater to pretty much everyone. They go from the highs of Marvel with huge sprawling lines of full complements of characters from movies compared to, one-offs. They have something for everyone. And they know that. They're very clever with that. They know they're going to get you. If you're a figure collector, chances are, even if you're collecting Mafex, there's one character. If they one character that you're probably going to pick up.
It's true.
It's how it is.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. There's too many good producers of figures, manufacturers out there right now to ignore. And, Hot Toys is still the king, and they're going to be for the foreseeable future. But even what InArt is doing has people excited. And that's something that eventually people will not ignore quality. So when quality, starts, showing up on live streams, starts showing up in communities, and other people have photos of the figures, that's going to be hard to ignore long term. And that's why Hot Toys has the presence and the command that it has, because they've earned that with their consistent quality over the last 10 to 15 plus years. So it's been a long time, and they've been, the king of realism and quality for a reason. So that's what I would say, bro. That's why Hot Toys is, king of the mountain, so to speak. And that's why they're hard to ignore. They have the IPs you want, and they have the quality you want.
So long story short, no, probably not all that possible, because one day you're going to end up with a Hot Toys figurine collection if you're a 1/6 collector.
Right.
just going to happen. Don't fight the inevitable. Just wait for that perfect character, the perfect representation of the character that you've always wanted in 1/6 scale. It's going to come along and you're going to get suckered in just like the rest of us.
But I will say, Justin, a lot of the third-party figures I have are some of my favorite figures. So,
Ooh.
you know, like, for example, the Pop Toy Scorpion, that's in my top 5. The Sephiroth and Cloud, I love those. I mean, you know, I guess InArt's not third-party. It's not licensed in the U.S., but, you know, some figures like that, dude. The Arthur Morgan would be in my top 10. Like, you know, to me, it's about the character, but it's also about the quality of the figure. Then Nathan Drake could end up being in my top 10 if I really love him. So, you know, dude, I couldn't imagine. Dude, what if Lim Toy? I know the other one is pretty good, but what if Lim Toys made Jin Sakai?
Ooh, I mean, VTS and Lim Toys, they've kind of been going back and forth. Like VTS made a Connor from Detroit Become Human, and Lim Toys announced theirs too. Right. So it's possible they have been making sort of the same thing. And they love the video game characters. Oh, I would be so in for a Jin Sakai.
I would be in for a Jin Sakai, yep.
Multiple armors, maybe, even like Ghost armor and Sakai clan armor. Oh,
and a better base with that fox. They got to fix that fox. That thing is,
or even the stupid little bird that's like, you know, that little bird. That
that's the sound it makes.
That's the little sound it makes. So yeah, you know, I'd be in for that. So it might not be possible to only collect other companies' figures, but they might surprise you.
Yeah.
They might actually end up being some of your favorites.